Buckle up because your next car could cost you thousands more, and the ripple effects might hit your wallet harder than you think. Welcome to Focal Point, where we break down the news that matters to you. Today, we're diving into the latest round of tariffs on imported auto parts that just kicked in, shaking up the auto industry and sparking heated debates about the economy. Will these tariffs drive up car prices? Could they tip the U.S. into a recession? And what does this mean for you, the consumer? Stick around as we unpack the facts, the reactions, and what's at stake. This morning, a new wave of tariffs targeting imported auto parts took effect, and it's sending shockwaves through the auto industry. Unlike previous auto tariffs that largely spared U.S.-made cars, this time, no American car manufacturer is getting a free pass. General Motors' CEO told CNN that these tariffs could cost the company a staggering $4 billion to $5 billion this year alone. That's a massive hit for one of the biggest players in the game, and it's raising big questions about what this means for car buyers like you and me. So what's the deal? Experts are warning that these tariffs could add an average of $4,000 to the price of a new vehicle. Now, you might not see those price hikes at the dealership right away. Analysts say it could take a bit for the costs to trickle down. But when they do, that extra $4,000 could make a big difference, especially for families already stretched thin by inflation and rising costs. Whether you're eyeing a new SUV or a compact sedan, that's a chunk of change you'll need to factor in. But here's where it gets even more interesting and controversial. Former President Donald Trump, who's been a vocal champion of tariffs, doesn't seem fazed by the potential fallout. In fact, he told NBC's Kristen Welker that he's okay with the economy taking a short-term hit, even if it means a recession. It's a transition period, he said, doubling down on his belief that these policies will pay off in the long run. That's a bold stance, and it's got people talking. Is this a risky gamble with the economy, or is it a tough but necessary move to level the playing field for American workers? To get the bigger picture, let's zoom out. CNN's Jeff Zeleny reported from the White House, where Trump is spending a working weekend at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. The economy is front and center for the administration, even as they roll out a budget blueprint that's all about slashing government spending. Zeleny pointed out that Trump's talk of a transition period is a sharp pivot from his campaign promises to lower prices on day one. Instead, he's asking Americans to be patient, betting that these tariffs will force other countries to buy more American goods and create a fairer trade system. But with trade deals still up in the air, that's a big if. Now let's break down the economic context. Yesterday's jobs report was stronger than expected, and the stock market has been rallying. That's the good news. But consumer sentiment, it's at its lowest level since May 2024, according to recent data. People are feeling uneasy, and these tariffs aren't exactly boosting confidence. The uncertainty is palpable, and it's not just car buyers who are worried. Small businesses and big corporations are struggling to plan ahead when the rules of the game keep changing. To dig deeper, I want to bring in the perspectives of two political strategists who weighed in on this issue: Republican Brian Robinson and Democrat Theron Johnson. Robinson argues that despite the headwinds, the economy is showing resilience. He points to headlines like the Wall Street Journal's, which called the economy remarkably resilient, despite the tariff turmoil. For Robinson, Trump's willingness to admit that his policies might cause a short-term recession is a sign of his authenticity, a trait that resonates with his base. This guy plays by a different set of rules, Robinson said, noting that Trump's unwavering support gives him the freedom to take risks that other politicians might shy away from. Robinson also defends the tariffs, arguing that they're about fairness. Europeans, Chinese, Japanese, they need to buy more American cars, he said. We buy theirs. They should buy ours. He sees these tariffs as a tool to negotiate better trade deals, even if it means short-term pain. But he's quick to add that he doesn't want long-term tariffs that could stifle American innovation and competitiveness. As a self-described dwindling member of the free trade wing of the Republican Party, Robinson's walking a fine line here. On the other side, Theron Johnson isn't buying the spin. He calls these tariffs inflationary and points to studies showing that tariffs historically drive up prices. No matter how you slice it, these are going to hurt consumers, Johnson said. He's also critical of Trump's economic track record, arguing that the former president failed to deliver on promises to tackle inflation and immigration in his first 100 days. Johnson paints a grim picture. Job gains are down, layoffs are up, and businesses, both small and large, are paralyzed by uncertainty. They can't make bold predictions about how to run their companies, he said, slamming Trump's wait-and-see approach. Johnson also zooms in on the stock market, noting that despite recent rallies, overall activity is at record lows. For the 70% of Americans who invest in the stock market through 401ks or other accounts, that's a red flag. His advice for Democrats? Tell the truth about this economy. That means highlighting the struggles of working-class families and small business owners who are feeling the squeeze. It's a message he thinks can resonate as Democrats gear up for the midterms. But tariffs are only part of the story. The Trump administration also dropped a budget blueprint that's stirring up its own controversy. The plan calls for boosting defense spending and border security while cutting programs for education, foreign aid, health, and the environment. That's got some Republicans, like Senator Susan Collins, raising eyebrows. Collins, who sits on the Senate Appropriations Committee, signaled that not all GOP lawmakers are fully on board. And that's not surprising. When you're talking about hundreds or thousands of budget items, everyone's got something they want to protect. For Robinson, the budget debate is a chance to tackle the nation's $30 trillion plus debt. We have to make tough decisions, he said, applauding the administration for pairing tax cut renewals with cost-cutting measures. But Johnson sees it differently. He's alarmed by specific cuts like $374 million slashed from K-12 education and the elimination of preschool programs that working families rely on. He also warns that Medicaid and Medicare are under attack, with Affordable Care Act subsidies for 24 million Americans at risk. Democrats are speaking out, he said, urging his party to hold the administration accountable. So where does this leave us? The tariffs on auto parts are here, and they're likely to make cars more expensive. Maybe not today, but soon. The economy is showing some strength, but consumer confidence is shaky, and the threat of a recession looms large. Trump's betting on a long-term payoff, but his critics say he's playing a dangerous game with working-class families' livelihoods. And with a budget blueprint that's already dividing his own party, the road ahead looks bumpy. Here's what you need to know as a consumer. Keep an eye on car prices over the next few months. If you're planning to buy, you might want to act sooner rather than later. And as a voter, think about what these policies mean for your community. Are tariffs a tough but necessary move to protect American jobs? Or are they a reckless policy that's going to hit your wallet hard? That's the debate playing out right now, and it's one we'll be watching closely. Thanks for tuning in to Focal Point. If you found this breakdown helpful, give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. Drop a comment below. Do you think these tariffs are worth the cost, or are they a mistake? Let's get the conversation going. Until next time, stay informed and stay curious.